Welcome to your Artsy Girl podcast. I am your host, Christina Carrere. This is a podcast about art, poetry, writing, and anything about creativity. Sit back, relax, and get your dose of brain food to get your creative juices flowing. Welcome to episode 52. Today's featured guest is Pam Peacock. She's a visual artist and designer based in Atlanta, Georgia. After relocating from Southern California in 2015, she quickly fell in love with the city and its thriving supporting art community. She enjoys working and collaborating with fellow artists and is a member of the collective Lotus Eaters Club. Pam's passion for creating reflects in what she does both on and off a computer. She has over 12 years experience working in graphic design and is currently a designer at the iHeart Podcast Network. As a full-time designer by day, she finds balance by spending her own time on illustration and painting. Her work is shaped by lifelong interests in science fiction, outer space, comics, and many long road trips across the United States. Her art explores themes relating to her introspective and philosophical nature, often examining our connections between one another and the world around us. Everyone, please welcome my next featured guest, Pam Peacock. Hi, Pam. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Well, I knew your family growing up in the Philippines. Well, more so your brother, Eddie Peacock, whom I went to high school with at former Clark Air Force Base. Did you also grow up in the Philippines?
I was born there, but my family moved away. I want to say I was about 2 years old. We came back to the States. So I don't really remember being there and didn't really grow up over there.
So you are much younger.
Yeah, Ed's actually my half brother. So I want to say he must have been 14 or 15 when I was born.
Right. So where did you go after the Philippines then?
We went to New York State, and then shortly after that, we were in Southern California. So most of my childhood was in Southern California.
Where exactly? Where around?
We were in San Bernardino. My dad was in the Air Force, so that's why he was in the Philippines for a while. And then he ended up moving to family to California, and then he retired out there. So.
And I understand you are in Atlanta, Georgia now?
Yeah, I live in Atlanta. So after San Bernardino, my family moved to Virginia for a while because my mom had joined the Navy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when I was about 20, I ended up moving back to a different part of Southern California. I lived in Costa Mesa for about 11 years. And then in 2015, I moved to Atlanta.
Okay, so did you go to a college there or anywhere for your graphic design skills?
I started at the Art Institute of Washington, which is right outside of Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And then I ended up transferring to the Orange County campus in Santa Ana, California. So that's where I ended up finishing my associates in graphic design.
Wow. So you did a lot of bouncing around between the two coasts, seems like. Yeah. So now, how long have you been in Atlanta? For a while now?
It'll be 5 years this fall.
Okay. So tell me about your visual arts and graphic design skills. Now, I did see your work, and I have to say it's very whimsical and it's very pleasing, and I just absolutely love the premise of it. So please describe to us your themes that you like to cover, and of course your artist statement.
Okay, so I would say that most of my personal work is, for me, it's an exploration of introspection. I would say I'm a really introspective and kind of existential person. For me personally, it's the way that I process my emotions and my experiences. I deal with anxiety and depression. So for me also, it's a way for me to sort of manage my mental health. I make art a lot outside of my day job as a designer. And it's just, a way for me to stay balanced. I would say that the themes I've always been interested in space exploration, the aesthetics of outer space, sort of the philosophical questions that come with this kind of stuff. What is our place in the universe, and on a smaller scale, what is my place on Earth? What is my purpose here? What is it that I'm looking for, and what it really comes down to for me is connection. Always looking for connection, looking to be understood, looking to understand others. So I use this idea of outer space and space exploration as sort of a metaphor for all of that stuff.
I like the colors. Have you done any like children's books by chance?
It's something that I would like to do. It's definitely something I'm thinking about. All the pieces just haven't come together yet. Right. But I do think it would work well with my style and everything.
Yeah, and I could see also a graphic novel or something, Oh,
I love that idea.
So you work for iHeartMedia and all, doing graphic design for them?
I do. I am a graphic designer for the iHeart Podcast Network.
Okay.
We used to be a part of How Stuff Works. How Stuff Works had started getting very deeply into podcasting over the last few years. About 2 years ago, I guess, iHeart bought us out to become their podcasting branch, basically. So I design not all, but most of the cover art, logo art that goes out for all of the new shows on that network.
Well, to let you know and the audience know that this is syndicated on iHeart as well. But that's cool. It's really, really interesting that, you can do amazing things with graphic design skills. What is your favorite type of artwork, visual arts?
It's hard to pick a favorite, but for a long time, I was mostly doing just black marker on paper. And that's always my go-to. Like if I'm going to sit down and try to knock out an idea or just do something productive for myself, that's almost always where I'm going to land first. I think for me, it's like the purest form of getting my thoughts out visually, quickly, and really in a simple way. I've been working a lot more with color again over the last couple years, and I would say watercolors probably my favorite. I just like the lack of control.
And
that's like kind of inherent in that process. And for some people, that's the opposite of what they want. But I like to kind of guide it and see, as far as the way that the colors spread on the paper and everything.
Absolutely. I concur with that. I mean, I've just started out with gouache and watercolor. And I have to say that I love doing the abstract on that with watercolor. And that's how I create my abstract works, is because I just follow where it leads me to. And, and lo and behold, something comes out of it.
Exactly, yeah.
Are you creating during this pandemic?
I am. Probably not as much as before. I'm lucky enough to still be working full time right now from home. So I don't have the extra time that a lot of people are suddenly finding themselves with. I do already spend a lot of my free time making art despite having a full-time job, but I would say that I'm sure, as a lot of people are experiencing, the stress of the pandemic is tough. We're not really operating at our best.
Yeah, exactly. That's my sentiment. Exactly. I find myself, I am also telecommuting, so it's not like have all this time. I mean, still kind of accounted for, but in the time that I do have is, a toss up.
Right.
So one day I'll feel like super creative, and the next day or a series of days I'm just like spent from the emotional toll from everything. And isn't it ironic? It's like I was telling my previous podcast guest about how we kind of wish we had more time to create.
Right.
But it's not of our choosing. So,
and there's just this exhaustion, the mental and emotional drain, which I think is making it a lot harder for people. But, for me, as as usual with my art, it is a way for me to process things. So it definitely helps me to have that to focus on and to sit down and sort of work through a creative project as part of my pandemic coping mechanism.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I understand that you do some murals also.
I do, yeah. I've had the opportunity to work on a few murals around Atlanta, both individually and with the collective that I'm a part of called Lotus Eaters Club, which is really fun. I love painting big. There's something just really fun and wonderful about bringing something that's normally, you know, on a smaller piece of paper and making it bigger than yourself.
Yes, that's the true skill, because you have to kind of scale it even larger. And I have yet to do something like that, but I mean, I've worked on larger pieces, but not a mural. So I always adore, you know, murals and stuff. So that's good. Any other kind of mediums or techniques you use?
I do a lot of lino cut, block printing, which is something I got into probably around 2012 and have started to explore again recently in the current style of art that I'm doing, trying to figure out how to interpret what I'm doing now into that medium, which is challenging and really rewarding when it works.
Can you explain a little bit on how that works?
Yeah, lino printing is it's a form of relief printing. So you have basically a wood block that's got maybe like a 1/4 inch layer of linoleum adhered to the top of it. And it's very much like woodblock printing, where you're taking these sharp tools and carving out the negative space in an image that you want to print. So you'll carve out your image, roll ink over the block, put your sheet of paper over it, and then I'm not really sure what the right word is, but there's a tool called a baron that you'll rub over the paper with the right amount of pressure to transfer the ink onto your paper. So it's a really easy way to make a lot of something. What I love about that process too is that it's when you're pulling prints by hand, it's not going to be perfect. Every print, even though it's the same image, is going to be slightly different from each other. And I think that's really great. I definitely have a taste for activities that are very tedious, but only specific ones. Otherwise, I don't have that much patience.
So do you do any kind of other stuff like sketching or, you know, acrylic work or anything like that?
I've been painting a lot more acrylic on canvas over the last 2 years, I would say. And I really enjoy that. I actually am working on a commission right now for 3 3-foot by 3-foot canvases that are going to be companion pieces to each other.
Wow.
So really looking forward to doing that pretty soon. Actually picking up the canvases today. So I think that's really fun. I play around with stop motion experiments. So I'll make drawings on paper and do all these little cutouts on paper that I'll either use for stop motion experiments, doing like very analog process of setting up a rig with my camera and, you know, doing it old school by taking a million pictures where I'm moving the piece ever so slightly. So I do that. And I also like making what I like to call 2.5 dimensional, 2.5D dioramas. So they're not like fully sculptural pieces, but it's like layered cut paper inside of like a shadow box.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Wow. Well, that's very cool.
Thanks.
So where can people go check out your work?
I have a website. It's thevoyagerpeacock.com. I am on Instagram. I share art almost every day on Instagram, which the handle is also at thevoyagerpeacock.
Oh, very good. Very good. Well, I thank you for taking the time and sharing us your work. And tell your brother thank you for referring you to me.
Will do. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. This was really fun.
So please, keep in touch and let me know what you're up to. Okay.
Will do. And likewise.
Well, everyone, that is it for now. Please tune in next week for my next featured guest. In the meantime, have a productive and creative week. Bye, Pam.
Bye, Christina. Thank you.
Thank you.